The very first thing that we want to look at as an entrepreneur is the mindset. What is the mindset we want to have as a startup founder, somebody who wants to create a business, that entrepreneurial spirit, and what does that entail? Well, the very first thing we want to understand is why things fail. Why do 9 out of 10 startups fail? And the main reason is because we build stuff nobody wants. Most startup founders build things that the customer doesn't really care about. 9 out of 10 fail because they spend time and money and effort building things that they think are cool, but the customer actually doesn't need or want. We want to make sure that you don't do that. We don't want to waste our time and money and effort building stuff nobody wants. So our mantra and thesis when we teach startups is that what separates successful entrepreneurs is differing mindsets, not differing skill sets. We can teach you the skills, but we want you to have a mindset of openness, that your idea of a new solution is just the starting point, but it's really the customer's problems that we need to understand. We call this the innovator's bias in most startups. Most founders come up with this idea, some creative solution. They go out and build it, right? They build a hammer, and if you build a hammer, then to them, everything looks like a nail. They can solve the problem with their solution. That might be the case, but usually it's not. That's like starting with a solution. It's like building a key without a door. We first want to build the door, then we can understand what the lock needs to look like so a key can be built to open that door. Building solutions first without any customer insights is backwards, so we don't want you to do that. One of my favorite quotes from Albert Einstein around this issue: if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions. And this is a great way to think about this mindset. You might have a preconceived notion of some cool idea. Put that aside. Spend 55 minutes of that hour thinking about the customer's problems and go out and actually talk to them. Instead of having the innovator's bias, thinking about what problems you think your solution solves, we want to shift the mindset because you as an innovator have a gift. You already have an idea of what you think you can solve, but now we need to understand the problems even better that are worth solving, and what are those competitive products that are out there that you can actually create a better solution for the customer. And this is where the differing mindsets come into play. Steve is your traditional founder, startup. He's an artist. He likes to build things first, right? Tinkering in his garage, software coding, takes big risks. He wants to go out and spend money and build the solution first without actually getting any evidence. And he thinks that is his real product. Versus Larry, which is what we want you to be like. He's an innovator, but he thinks about the customer first. He removes his biggest risk by actually getting information and insights and evidence from customers, from their feedback, before he builds anything, which removes his big risks. He loves the customer's problem, wants to understand their problems and what they use now to solve those problems. And he knows his business model is the real key, the real product, not just his offering. We're going to talk about business models in subsequent sessions, and that's a real key to what we're going to talk about throughout this course. So the innovator's gift, think about this. New problems worth solving can be discovered by studying how customers use old solutions. There is an old solution for every product or service in the world. The question is, what's wrong with those offerings that you can do better? Even in the gerontology space, there are many, many offerings that we are going to think about through this journey. So the main thing that we want to leave you with today is a key mindset shift. Think about loving the problem, not just your solution. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.